Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Nick. Nick is from England in the UK. So let's see what Nick has to say. Enjoy the interview. So hello Nick, how are you?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. I'm really sorry that I'm a little bit late. I was on a TikTok live,
Eh,
and
Okay.
one of the people that I work with messaged me and they're saying, Nick, you are supposed to be doing a podcast at 10 p.m. and this was at 1 minute past 10. I was like, oh my gosh, I've forgotten. So I had to get off the TikTok live and come straight back on. So apologies.
Oh, that's okay. So as you already touched about, your page on TikTok. So tell me a little bit about your page on TikTok. What's the idea behind?
So just before COVID hit, which was what, 2019, 2020, I can't remember.
Yeah.
About a year before, my mother passed away. And then a year after that, my sister passed away. And then my sister passed away in the October. And then in the February of the next year, my wife left me. And then COVID hit. I lost my business during COVID. I contracted COVID. I then broke my leg. Everything was,
Wow.
and I was spending a lot of time on my own, and I became very depressed. I started drinking too much, as a lot of us do, fall into that habit of drinking every night, and couldn't pay my mortgage because I'd lost my business, wasn't getting any help from the government, and was on the verge of suicide.
Wow.
And luckily I didn't. I woke up one night after having too much to drink, after I decided I was going to go through with it, and woke up because I'd had too much to drink, and thought to myself, what am I doing? I need to make some changes. But one of the things that I was doing consistently during that time was I was meditating. I'd been meditating on and off for perhaps the previous 10 years, and it was the only thing that I was still doing. I'd stopped going to the gym. I'd stopped looking after myself. When people are depressed, they stop caring about things. So the house was a mess, and you wouldn't shave for many days, and you wouldn't shower, and it just, nothing mattered. But I was continuing to meditate, and I remember one Sunday morning I was meditating. It's probably about 6 o'clock in the morning, and if people haven't meditated before, there are a few occasions when there's a voice that's not your voice that comes to you. So when you're sitting there thinking about, what am I going to eat for dinner tonight? What am I going to do tomorrow? That's your voice.
Mm-hmm.
This voice came to me and it said, give yourself 1 year, 365 days of all out focus and attention. And if your life is not dramatically different, then you can kill yourself. So I came out of the meditation, and I knew instantly that was the catalyst for things. So I stopped drinking. I got myself back in the gym. I started trying to discover ways that were going to help my mental health and physical health without going to the doctor. So I discovered ice baths. I discovered supplementation that was going to help me potentially raise my testosterone levels back to normal levels, because I was 42, 43 years old, and men of that age generally have low testosterone. And then as I'm starting out on this journey, I think, well, it might be a good idea to start writing my thoughts down. So I start writing every day and meditating, continuing that. Started to lose weight, gaining more confidence. And then I thought maybe starting a TikTok channel would be a good idea. Thinking that maybe a handful of people might see some of my struggles that I've gone through and see that I've turned things around, or I'm starting to turn things around. And I guess it was a way of me holding other people, helping me hold me to account. So I'm documenting this, and I'm now 3 days without drinking, and I'm now 10 days without drinking, and I've been to the gym 6 times in the last 2 weeks, and it just felt natural to me to do that. And my videos started taking off. They really started to resonate with people. I had people reaching out to me, and I've always been a very confident, on the outside, I've been a very confident person. I'm 6 foot tall. I've always gone to the gym, so I'm strong and muscular-ish, and I'm relatively okay looking. So on the outside, I look very confident, very cool, very calm. But when people realized and heard me speaking about my depression and anxieties and lack of self-belief, it was like, wow, if this can happen to him, it can possibly happen to anybody. So I then started getting people reaching out to me. And it was funny because I didn't want to put my name to my account because I didn't want anybody that I knew to see it, first and foremost, because I was embarrassed. So I called it End the Struggle. And that was really just a play on my time. It was, I've been through all these struggles, and this is kind of the line in the sand where I'm going to start to end my struggle. And it's ended up being a very poignant name because lot's come from that, and a lot of people will reach out to me and say, I'm looking to end my struggle, can you help me?
Wow.
So the TikTok channel went from strength to strength, and within the first few months I'd got a few thousand followers. I'm now sitting on 212,000 followers.
Wow.
I started my own podcast in November, which is called the Pure Waffle Podcast, which has got 1,100 subscribers on YouTube now. We're monetized. We've got 18,000 followers on the TikTok channel for Pure Waffle Podcast. And I recently started a community on an app called School. So School is a app which allows people to build a community about anything that they want to do. What I wanted with that is I wanted to offer people for free advice on how to become a content creator, what to do if they were struggling mentally, physically, how to learn about cryptocurrencies. And we've gone from nothing to number 4 on the app globally in 7 days.
Wow.
So we've currently got 8,000 members that are active, and they're learning about cryptocurrency. They're learning about self-development, how to become a content creator, and it's all for free. And that's really what I want to do. I want to try and, I don't want anybody to feel the way that I felt. But not only that, I had nobody to turn to. I did have people to turn to, but I didn't use them. I went within myself and I figured them out myself. And I don't think everybody's strong enough to do that. So I'm very lucky that I was able to do that. So I want to build a platform where males and females, black, white, straight, gay, whatever religion, can come there, feel safe and welcomed, non-judgmental, and learn how to better themselves, support one another. And if we can give you some skills that you can earn some money, you can become fitter, you can learn about nutrition, anything like that, we're going to do that because I understand the struggles that people go through. And going back to the meditation that I did, 18, 19 months ago, whenever it was, 1 year to the day of me starting my TikTok channel, my life was completely different. Exactly as the meditation said. So I've almost given myself over to the universe, and I've said, you do with me what you want, and I will go with my gut instincts. And so far, everything that I've done has worked out for the better.
Amazing. I love it. I loved your story because, as you mentioned, that sometimes you need to go really down, hit the bottom for you to kind of pick yourself up and see that there are lights out there. And sometimes those those falls are necessary for us to build something nice and new. And at the same time, you are healing, you are helping people as well. So I think that's the great part about life, when we just follow and sometimes things comes up. Nick, tell me where you're from.
So I'm from England. I live in the very centre of England, very close to a city called Nottingham. A lot of people might have heard of Robin Hood. So that's where Robin Hood came from, the Sheriff of Nottingham. So I'm very close to that, and I support Nottingham Forest football team. So yeah, right in the centre of the UK is where I'm from.
And that's the place where you were born and raised?
Yes, yeah.
So tell me, what was the best part of growing up in Nottingham?
It's so the area that I grew up in, the small town that I grew up in, is very multicultural. So most of my friends, my best friends, are Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Punjabi, white, Jewish. There wasn't a large contingency of Africans here then, so I don't have many school friends that were Afro-Caribbean. But I went to my best friend's father's funeral last week. It was a Hindu funeral, and I was one of the only white people there. And I've always been part of that. So I think for me, growing up around everybody, whether race, religion didn't matter, I think that's probably the best thing about it. It's always been multicultural, and it's nice to connect with people and just see them as human beings rather than this segregation. So I'm proud to say that I've got very close friends of all nationalities, all races, and all religions, and we're just ultimately all the same. And that kind of that's probably the best thing about the area that we've lived in for me.
Amazing. Okay, Nick, so during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your point of views, okay?
Sure.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories of life and share your point of views?
Let's do it.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend. Full of random fun questions. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Sure.
Let's do it. All right, so before we start the game, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, some reason you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? First question for you is, who is your biggest hero?
So my biggest hero growing up was a tennis player called Pete Sampras. I started playing tennis when I was 12 years old, so I was late to tennis, and I got the bug for it, got addicted to it, became really quite good. And I've been a tennis coach for 20 odd years, but Pete Sampras for me was everything that I wanted to try and emulate. But then as I got older, Roger Federer became the new hero for me because of the way that he played, the way that he conducts himself on and off the court, but also my appreciation for how he plays tennis was similar to Sampras, but in my regards, my opinion, better than Sampras. And I think Federer is the best tennis player that's ever lived, although Novak Djokovic is going to go down as the world's greatest. Novak Djokovic is the world's greatest match player, but in terms of tennis player, in terms of shots, ability, ways that you can win and lose points, for me, Federer. So Sampras in the early years, going on to Federer.
I love Roger Federer. I started enjoying tennis because of him. I was living in Portugal before moving to England, and I remember what was one of the Wimbledon final. And I remember I was talking to my manager, said, I said, what you watching this tennis? Oh, because Roger Federer is playing. I said, who's Roger Federer? From that day on, tennis just became part of one of my favorite sports to watch it. And it's beautiful the way he plays, classic, very classic, beautiful. And I started enjoying tennis because of Roger Federer. It's amazing.
And I think a lot of people around the world started to take notice of tennis a little bit more because of Roger Federer. But also a lot of the other players, Serena Williams has done an awful lot for the women's game. They kind of made tennis mainstream and fun, which was good for me being in the tennis environment and the tennis industry.
Amazing. Cool. Next question. Let's do it. Hey, Nick. Next question is, what is a significant event that has changed you?
I mean, there's quite a few. Marriage breakup is probably one of the most significant, because after a 17-year marriage, when all I wanted to be growing up was a father, so I had 2 children, and then all of a sudden the marriage breakup means that you're no longer going to be there for every birthday and every Christmas and every holiday. You're now sharing and co-parenting. So it took a long time for me to get to grips with that. That was significant. Obviously, the passing of my mother and my sister were big moments in my life, because up until that point, everybody thinks that they're going to live forever. And we go to sleep every night with the expectations that we're going to wake up the next day. And I think when somebody very close to you passes, that then suddenly becomes of a very stark reality that actually tomorrow's not guaranteed. So I think with the passing of my eldest sibling and my mother, it makes you appreciate every day. It makes you tell the people that you love them. And silly disputes and arguments that you might have had with somebody don't matter, and to make amends as quick as you can, because it's actually quite poignant, because it's Monday today, and yesterday in England was Mother's Day. So the last time I saw my mum was on Mother's Day. She passed away 6 years ago, 3 days after Mother's Day. So I'd gone round to see her on the Mother's Day, gave her a card and gave her this and, you know, the flowers. And then she passed after that, and I didn't see her in between. So those two things for me. And look, the birth of your children are massive, huge moments in your life. But yeah, those two mainly stick out for me.
I see. Okay. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, Nick, as I could see, you know, your eyes shining talking about your kids. Tell me, what's the best part of being a dad?
All of it. The late nights, the crying, the first words that they learn to read and write, the first boyfriends, the first heartbreak, the results at school when they come home and they're proud of themselves. I think possibly a lot of the time you don't think that your children are necessarily listening to what you're saying, and they're not taking it in. But then a few weeks down the line, you'll hear them repeating something that you've said to somebody. And you go, you were listening and you were taking note, and you've digested that, and you've now regurgitated it as yours to somebody else. So that's, for me, that's a big one. But just the whole, and once you become a parent, you understand what unconditional love means, and you go from being almost a rudderless ship to having purpose in life, and your purpose shifts in that instant that they're born. You're now a protector, a teacher, a friend, a shoulder to cry on, an enemy sometimes, and all of those things didn't exist before that moment. So you almost shift into a parallel universe. And that the highs and the lows, the Christmas mornings when they run in and ask if Santa's been, and the magic in their eyes, and that first time that they managed to swim for 4 or 5 meters without armbands and floats and assistance, teaching them to ride a bike for the first time, and seeing them actually, you know, that passing knowledge on that you've been passed on from father or grandfather or mother, and passing on to your children's amazing.
Cool. Great. Next question is, what is your morning ritual?
What is my morning ritual? So I actually, she's just there now. I've got a big American Akita dog called Kira, and obviously with dogs, they want to go out first thing. So it's get up, get straight out there, start the day off. I'm very lucky because behind the house that I live in, there's some wooded area. So it's a nice walk without a mobile phone. Obviously, I guess you understand as well that in the environment that we're working in, which is social media, your phone is never too far away from you, and it's always going. So it's nice to have that little bit of a starter there. She's actually come over to me now, so I'm stroking her here. She's let's see if we can see her. So she's there.
Hello. Oh, that's so sweet.
There's my big bear.
Oh my God! Wow.
So yeah, so my morning routine is pretty much that, unless it's like a day off and it's a bit of a chill time. But yeah, it tends to be that. Meditation is still something that I try to tend to do. So if I get, you know, a 3 or 4 minute period where I can just calm down and just relax. But no TV. I don't watch TV. I can't remember the last time I put a TV on in my house. You know, not because I'm evangelical about mainstream media and, you know, whatever. I just don't have time for it. I just fill my time with other things and creating and whatever. So never that.
Totally understand your point. You know, that's when you work with social media. As I'm literally in Rio de Janeiro right now. I'm in vacation in Brazil, holidays, and it's impossible not to stop for a minute. And you know, I'm here with you in the interview, and it's just great to be able to. I mean, it's a passion of yours. When you do something with passion, you know, somehow you need to connect. But at the same time as well, you know, it's there. It cares with you. You're gonna find a day or moment, as I'm finding right now, to be here with you right now. So I totally understand. Do you consider yourself to be more of a day or night person?
It changes, if I'm being honest with you. I've gone through stages in my life where I've been a night owl and I can stay up late and work and do things. I taught myself how to draw to a really high level, so much so that I've sold artwork, and that was in the evening. So I used to stay up very late learning tutorials, YouTube videos, practice. But then equally, I've gone through stages, particularly when I went through my depressional stage, of understanding how important sleep was for me. So I can equally switch to becoming the guy that's in bed by 8:30 at night, and then getting up at 6 in the morning and then being very productive in the day. So I don't know if I'm either one of those two things. I think I'm a mixture of both, depending on what's going on in my life. But I do understand the importance of sleep, and particularly for mental health, it is one of the most important things that you can do. Getting a good night's sleep works wonders for mental health.
Okay. 3 questions left. Let's do it. So before the next question, as you mentioned about mental health, tell me nowadays, in your opinion, what's the biggest cause, of mental health issues in the world right now?
I think social media has a lot to play in mental health. I think, particularly from a male's point of view, a lot of men now, particularly young men, have very little purpose in life. They don't strive for these goals, whether that's a physical goal, whether that's a competitive goal. Everything's become quite easy for them. And I think particularly men need to have things that they need to conquer, whether that be a hobby or a sport or whatever it might be. So I think that, alongside the social media, the pressures of social media, and the perfectly manicured faces and hands and feet and whatever of models, make men feel inferior. And I also think pornography has had a detrimental effect on particularly males' psyche and self-confidence and their relationships with females. So I think a mixture of those, and then obviously, you know, you've got things like drugs and alcohol abuse and that type of lifestyle. But social media, a lack of purpose, and then, you know, offshoots of drugs and alcohol.
What? When you mention about pornography, what do you mean by that? That it can affect a male regarding that?
So I think I believe that human beings, biologically, we are meant to interact with a tribe to small town of people. So you might see a maximum in your lifetime 100 years ago of 100 women, and you would choose somebody from that pool, and you were happy with that. Whereas now, at the click of your fingers on an app, you have access to all of the women in the world. So we're now constantly looking for something that might be slightly better. So we may have found somebody that was a perfect match for us in every aspect, but we're just wondering if the next swipe left or next swipe right might be something slightly better, something slightly more glittery and shiny. So we're always looking for that next better thing, and we're never happy where we are. And I think that in itself, coupled with pornography and male image on pornography and men looking at themselves and going, I don't look like that, so maybe there's something wrong with me, and particularly women as well, but also then performances, and they don't realize that they're looking at an act and they're thinking, well, I don't perform like that. Is there something wrong with me? Maybe I need to pull back from the dating scene and asking girls out on dates, because what I'm seeing every day is not me. But actually, that's not anybody. That's just a very few people that's being poured into the eyeballs. And I think it's doing an awful lot of damage to self-esteem. I think it's terrible for relationships. I think a lot of men have got the complete wrong idea of what most women are like and how they need to be treated. And I just think it's had a massive detrimental effect. And I think that in a society where everything is very quick gratification, why would a man chase a female for 6 weeks, go on a date, court her, when he can get the pleasure, the sexual pleasure, just by a quick 5-minute video? And I think it's almost hardwiring our brain to search for these dopamine hits that 50, 60, 70 years ago, the whole point of that dating and going and meeting the father and the courting, that was that whole build up, and it taught you how to become a man. And I think the generation that is there now, the 17, 18, 19-year-olds, are struggling relationship wise, which is having a massive impact on their mental health.
Okay, interesting. Right. Oh, talking about dating, about relationship. What is the worst thing someone can say on a first date?
It's funny because I've made a couple of TikToks on this. How much money do you earn?
Oh, that's a big one.
Because I've had it.
Did you?
Yep, on a first date. How much money do you earn?
Oh no, that's a turn off straight away.
Well, a massive turn off, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Because you think to yourself, well, this can go no further now, because you're only interested in me after I answer this question. So I either answer it truthfully or I lie about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Now, some people are fortunate and they earn a lot of money. So you tell them the truth, and then they're interested in you. Or you tell them the truth and they're not interested in you, based on a number, not the conversation, not the look, not the vibe, not the chemistry. It's, let's get this question out of the way first, and then we'll proceed to see if we match. So yeah, I think how much money do you make is the worst thing somebody can ask on a first date.
I'm curious to know what was your answer to that.
I think I can't, it was a while ago now. I think I said something like, it's none of your business. And why would that have any effect? Why would that have any effect on it? Because if I tell you I earn £1 million a year, you're going to like me. And if I tell you I earn £10,000 a year, you're going to dislike me, but I'm the same person.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah, and as you said about social media now, it becomes as well something connected with that. People, they're expecting, about the look, about something behind, and sometimes not about that. And you are missing a big opportunity to meet someone nice. And actually, this person must be very rich, or,
Yes.
And this person come across a very simple, normal person. And again, it's going to turn off and things going to go wrong, and you miss a big opportunity if you're willing to get that. You know what I mean? So.
Yes.
End of the day, be yourself on a date and just let the things go, and never know, it might take you in a direction that you're not expecting, a nice one. So yeah, I agree. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Hey, Nick from England. Next question is, what is your favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Ooh. What is my favorite guilty pleasure TV? Okay, I've got one for you. Like I said, I don't watch an awful lot of TV, but in the UK here, we have something that comes on at the end of the summer called the Great British Bake Off. And I love it. I mean, I've not watched the last couple of series, but I can get into that. And I love I've always been creative.
Yep.
I love seeing things where we start off with an idea and we end up seeing the finished article. And so I love that process. I love the humor. It's obviously filmed in the summer, so it's got that lovely summer vibe to it, the outdoorsy vibe, the sunshine, all of that. So yeah, the Great British Bake Off, I am partial to watching that.
You like cooking?
Yes and no. I don't bake. I've never baked anything in my life. But yeah, I like to think that I like cooking. In my head, I like cooking. Yeah, but the reality is, I usually just buy food.
Amazing. Ready for the last one?
Yes, let's go.
The next question. Hey, Nick, before the next question, if you can talk about when you think about your mom, yeah, what's the best memory or the latest memory that warms your heart, that you go like, you know what, I will always remember that, if you can share?
Of my mum?
Yeah.
Of my mum. She would, so my dad was a fireman. So he used to work shift work. So he would be out, he would maybe do 3 days working days and then 3 days working nights. And I always remember when he would work nights, on the odd occasion, my mum would let me have a little glass of Cinzano with her, which is like a very sweet, you could almost say it's almost like a wine. And she would have a Cinzano and lemonade, and I would have a little Cinzano and lemonade with her, at quite a young age. And it was kind of one of those things that she would never say, don't say anything to dad, but it was kind of like, we both knew, we don't say anything to dad. It's a little treat. It's a bit naughty. So yeah, probably that's one of the fond memories that I've got. There's loads, but that sticks out in my head. And also, I hate the taste of whiskey. I hate whiskey. And I think the reason for it is, if we ever had a toothache as a child, my mum would always get us to swill some of my dad's whiskey on the tooth and spit it out. The alcohol would take away a bit of the pain. So disgusting. Hate the taste of whiskey, and I think that's why.
Wow, you're just giving ideas now for people when they have toothpaste.
I don't know if it works.
Don't drink it. Put it out.
Don't drink it. Just spit it out. Yeah, sure.
Last question is: tell us about your first kiss and your first love.
So my first kiss was with a girl from not high school, secondary school, so year 10, was probably 15. Her name was Natasha. And
remember her name. Amazing.
I remember her name. And we were in the center of town near a phone box. That was my first kiss. I remember that. And then my first love, was obviously probably the hardest one that you've ever had to get to break up. So it was a girl called Claire. I met when we were 17, and I think we were dating from 17 to 19. So I learned to drive. So we started doing all of the kind of grown-up things that you would want to do, going to the local city and shopping, and going out to a hotel and going out for meals and to the theatre. So it was kind of that first grown-up relationship. But we split up, I think, when I was 19. So it was like a 2.5 year. And yeah, I mean, I still sometimes now have dreams and she's in them.
Oh wow!
Yeah, not romantic dreams, but just dreams where she will appear in them. So yes, so Claire. And then...
Right, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with money.
Freedom.
Family.
Love.
Life.
Challenging.
Sex.
Worth waiting for.
Like that. Love.
What makes
Worth
the world
waiting for. I'm joking. Sorry.
amazing, amazing, amazing.
Okay. One word for politics.
Politics, corruption,
Fear.
doesn't exist.
Religion.
Important,
Friendship.
invaluable,
Desire.
dangerous,
Very dangerous. I agree. Regrets.
the things that you didn't do.
Success.
Relative,
One word for wish.
one word for wish. One word for wish. Keep on doing it. Keep on wishing.
Happiness.
Roller coaster.
Mhm. One word for Nottingham.
For Nottingham,
Yeah.
forest. You Reds.
One word for England.
Oh. Rainy.
Why? Joking. One word for your TikTok videos.
Nonsense.
And the last one now. One word for your podcast.
Interesting.
Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friends. Define Nick in one positive word and one negative word only. What your best friend would say?
Enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm.
One word. It would be, I don't know how you say it in one word. Doesn't answer phone calls. I'm terrible. Terrible.
If I'll ask the same question to your kids, would be the same answer?
I think it would be reliable and smelly.
Oh my God.
They would always say, Dad's smelly. Bleh.
Oh my God, I love the honesty. Let's play now Nick and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But just for you to know, the music I'm playing, it's Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time. I love that music, that song.
Party all the time.
That's what I'm playing right now. Yeah. Right, so you can ask me a question now, Nick.
What's one thing that you want to achieve in the next 5 years?
Wow, beautiful question. Beautiful question. Something that I want to achieve the next 5 years, I want to be doing the Magic Box one-to-one, travel around the world and meeting my guests that over 1,200 interviews that I had so far. I'd love to go around the world and meet those people to have a deeper conversation based on their topics, based on their answers, based on their emotions during this show, because you have no idea, how many interesting people already be on the show, and it's been like such a great journey, and I'd love to to meet them and to try to maybe understand more about some topics that I could see through their eyes that was something that they want to do it, or they didn't want to do anymore, or something connect with their family or their friends or their past, or things that are happening right now, and those are about their goals as well. I have so many people here, like like you doing your podcast, seeing that you went through a tough time in a few years back, and now you are doing something that you are enjoying, and it's part of healing, helping people as well. So yeah, the next 5 years, I hope and I wish that I'll be doing the Magic Box in a bigger proportion and connect with people and seeing some more stories around the show, and it's been a great journey. So yeah, that's how I want to be doing for the next 5 years. Amazing. Did you have a good time?
Very good. Yeah, really, really fun. Enjoyed it.
Thanks so much.
if you're ever in my neck of the woods, then you must come to my studio and do a podcast with me, and we can sit and have a chat for a few hours.
Absolutely.
Which would be nice. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate you asking me, because I guess you understand, being on the other side of the camera all the time. It's nice when somebody asks you to be on the other side of it and ask you the questions and get to know you a little bit, because although people think that they know us because they've seen us interviewing other people, they don't actually know us, because nobody's actually asked us the questions that, like you've asked tonight. So I'll be sure to post this on my social medias, because I think it will be nice for my viewers to see me on the other side of it.
Absolutely.
Your energy and smile and, friendly approach. I think the world needs more of that. So I really appreciate you asking for me to come on. And if there's anything that I can do in the future, if you just reach out and we'll see what we can do. But it'd be lovely to see you in my neck of the woods. So I really appreciate it. And just keep being you, keep being real and honest and doing what you're doing. And I'm sure there are good things coming to you.
Thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate it. Oh my God, amazing.
You're welcome.
Amazing. But before you go, and I'll be on your show anytime. Just reach out and we can make something happen for sure. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
You can be anything you want to be, but you can't be everything. So figure out what it is that gets you up early in the morning and become very good at that. And somebody one day will pay you to do it. Whether that's building paper aeroplanes, podcasting, music, DJing, building aircraft models, whatever it might be. If that's what you're passionate about, stick with it, become world class in that, and somebody will pay you to do the thing that you love. But don't spread yourself thin thinking that you can do everything, because we can't do everything. We can do anything.
Amazing. I love that. Thanks so much. And you keep in touch. It was a pleasure. Okay, Nick? Take care.
Let me know when the link's there. Send it to me and we'll share it around.
I will for sure. Thanks so much, Nick.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.